On paper, the U.S. Armed Forces represent the absolute pinnacle of global military strength. Backed by seemingly endless budget appropriations, they deploy an arsenal of cruise missiles, stealth bombers, and aerospace dominance that no other nation can match. Yet despite having the greatest show on turf, the United States has fought to the occasional draw, or outright lost, nearly every undeclared war it has entered since World War II. The list of military interventions that ended with American forces departing in rooftop helicopters, often leaving behind chaotic collapses, spans from Cuba and Cambodia to Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The 1991 Gulf War did succeed in pushing Iraqi forces out of Kuwait, but even that conflict ended at intermission, leaving the deeper geopolitical tensions in the Middle East entirely unresolved for decades to come. This pattern of failure stems from a condition military historians call victory disease. It's a dangerous overconfidence, arrogance, and complacency born from past successes, causing a declining imperial power to blindly follow a deeply flawed, repeating blueprint. The first phase of this modern blueprint relies on a lack of formal authorization. These conflicts begin as undeclared wars, sold to the public through a series of shifting rationales, and quite often direct fabrications. Once the green light is given, the combat kicks off with massive D-Day-style air campaigns. These are spectacular sound and light shows designed to immediately obliterate the enemy's power grids, railway networks, and airports. Watching a nation's infrastructure collapse from the sky creates a powerful, intoxicating illusion for military commanders. It feels like a rapid, decisive win. We saw this exact illusion play out in Iraq, where an unprepared army genuinely thought the mission was accomplished, and they could all go home the moment the Saddam Hussein monument came down in Baghdad. But this initial superficial success is a trap. It neutralizes the physical buildings, but it pulls the occupying military deep into a complex society it doesn't actually understand. This brings us to Phase 2, where disconnected political leaders mandate the casus belli, the justification for war. They assign the military in the field an occupying mission that is beyond the capabilities of any armed force. During the Vietnam War, Lyndon Johnson handed his senior commanders impossible orders that reached far beyond the actual capabilities of the 500,000 men deployed on the ground. Today, leadership treats the Middle East as a stage for domestic performance, where military goals are frequently dictated by the need to shift polling numbers or distract the public from personal scandals. In less than 2 months, the stated justification for engaging Iran morphed from a war to liberate street demonstrators to a mission to deny the use of enriched uranium to a battle to control the sea lanes in the Strait of Hormuz. When the world's most capable military is ordered to deploy without a clear, static definition of what a victory actually looks like, it practically guarantees those forces will never be able to leave. That leads to the final phase, massive conventional forces inevitably getting bogged down in unwinnable guerrilla combat. Senior commanders chronically suffer from fighting the last war. In Vietnam, they approached the counterinsurgency as if every rural hamlet was a rerun of the Battle of the Bulge, a conventional European theater clash. But they weren't fighting a conventional force. They were facing an invisible, highly mobile army utilizing vast mountains, rivers, and dense jungles to its advantage. To compensate, the military often falls back on attrition, the strategy of simply grinding down the enemy's numbers until they surrender. But in these sprawling, asymmetrical environments, attrition is entirely useless. Attrition as a concept might have worked perfectly well for General Ulysses S. Grant marching toward Appomattox during the American Civil War, but it highlights how severely outdated the military's conceptual framework remains. We've watched this exact tactical mismatch repeat itself over the last 20 years in the Middle East, as heavy conventional armor struggled to maneuver through hostile urban centers and remote desert landscapes. Treating a decentralized, invisible conflict as a series of conventional set-piece battles turns what should be a targeted mission into a multi-decade quagmire. Today, this historical cycle is spinning up once again. Thousands of Marines and heavy naval assets are positioned for a potential escalation with Iran. Even with another $500 billion in defense funding, engaging a massive country like Iran without a cohesive strategy mirrors the exact mistakes that bogged the military down in earlier wars. The true measure of these repeating failures is found in the psychological damage carried home by the people sent to fight them. This chart plots the official death toll of the Vietnam War, recording 58,000 U.S. combat losses. When expanded to include subsequent veteran suicides, the staggering psychological fallout makes those initial deaths appear as only a fraction of the total tragedy. Until American leadership cures its victory disease and defines what a win looks like before firing a shot, the greatest show on turf is destined to keep purchasing multi-trillion-dollar defeats.